A lot of the times when we look at who makes money in the football world, we tend to look at two main figures, the clubs and the players, which do, by the way, make a lot of money, but there is an overlooked elephant in the room. Yo fans, it's Francisco from Footy RTA, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about and hopefully answer some of your questions on the secrets on how leagues make so much money. And by the way, if you're new and want to learn more about the business world of soccer, make sure to destroy the subscribe button and destroy the like button as well. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Oh, and by the way guys, if you want to buy yourself some gear, I'll link some Amazon links down below so you guys can go check them out and buy yourself some awesome gear. So yeah, let's go. Guys, to start the video off, there's two main sources of income for the leagues, and that's broadcasting rights and also sponsorship deals. There's obviously more of them, but I just want to touch on these two because they're the main ones and I feel like it's worth talking more in depth about these. So for those of you that don't know what a league is basically a group of clubs from usually the same country that go and play to win. So basically how it works is they'll play for a certain amount of time and then whoever has the most points wins a prize. And also these are organized by the head of the league. So the head of the league is basically who distributes the cash and just like pays for the referees and that kind of thing. So since leagues are a union of clubs, then the majority of the league's profits are always going to end up going to the clubs because at the end of the day, those are the ones that are going to generate the revenue. Okay, so starting off with sponsorships, there's three main types of sponsorships. But starting off, there's commercial and regular sponsorships. So pretty much like Heineken with the Champions League and also Bet365 with La Liga. These guys will pay the league a certain amount of money so they can be in their commercials and yeah, just basically advertise their brand. So basically an example of this would be Heineken. They spent around 2.25 billion euros in just marketing, and a big portion of that went to the Champions League. So that just goes to show that this is a huge part of the league's revenue. Now these types of sponsorships can be long-term like Heineken's and Nissan's with the Champions League, or they can be short-term like others with like La Liga or like different local leagues. And it also it all depends. These sponsors tend to be a lot more like internationally based just because the league and also the sponsor want to reach the more people as possible and in other like areas of the world as well. So that helps them as well. All right, so next up are the biggest and most revenue generating sources of income for leagues, title sponsors. So these guys are the ones that are going to pay the league for their name to be in the league's actual name. So basically like Liga Conforama or La Liga Santander or Barclays Premier League in the past. I made a video previously talking more in depth about these types of sponsors. So if you guys want to go check it out, I'll leave it down below in the description. So just to give you an example of how big these contracts actually are, La Liga's contract with Santander is reportedly worth 20 million euros a season, and it's recently extended till 2021. One final thing to note is that these sponsors tend to last a lot longer than commercial sponsors simply because they're just longer contracts, and basically they tend to last around 10 to 15 years. It depends on like what the agreement was. So the last type of sponsor is kit manufacturing sponsors. Now these aren't very common. In fact, the only one I found that had this kind of contract was the MLS with Adidas, which by the way has a contract worth up to $700 million down to 2024. So yeah, that's how big they are. But again, they're not very common. So yeah, fans, and apart from destroying the subscribe and like button, I please ask you for today's video to share this video with everybody you know. Your grandma, your cousin, your everyone, your friend, it doesn't matter. Like even if they live across from where you live, it doesn't matter. Just share it with everyone and just get it out to everybody. Okay, so moving on to the biggest source of revenue for the leagues and partly for the clubs as well, broadcasting rights. It's important what I mentioned earlier about the leagues being a group of teams, because this revenue is actually not all kept by the actual head of the league, but distributed among like teams according to how much watch time they got. However, they do keep a portion of it, and it usually tends to be around 3 to 5%, depends. And considering they make so much money, it's a huge amount of money as well. It doesn't matter if it's 3 to 5%, it's still huge. So if you have like a team like Barcelona or Real Madrid, they're gonna get like 36% of the shares of that total revenue, and like a smaller team, like I don't know, Southampton is only gonna get like 2% or 1%. So I'm gonna use the Premier League as an example to show you how much like broadcasting is actually worth. So the Premier League earns around 5.4 billion euros every single season just from these broadcasting rights. And the league is ripping us overseas fans off because we're paying like 30% more just for these rights, and it's crazy. But we also make up about 46% of the league's total broadcasting revenue. And by the way, that's expected to rise and go above the domestic rates in the near future around 2022. The weird thing is that from 2017 to 2018, the league actually decreased their prices by 400 million, despite having shown 32 more games. And the PL says this wasn't actually a mistake, but actually this was because of inflated growth in the market, so they want to adjust it. So remember how I mentioned earlier that leagues don't keep all the money, but they distribute it among the teams in the league? Well, Liverpool earned 300 million euros just from broadcasting rights of people watching their games. I'm going to make a video in the future about this topic just because it's such a big part of the business of soccer, so stay tuned for that. It's coming up soon, I promise. And another rather small source of income for the leagues every year is like card fees and that kind of thing. We all know who contributes the most to that. Anyways, fans, that'll do it for this week's video. I hope that you found it helpful and I answered some of your questions. And remember to share it with everyone you know, and destroy the subscribe button and like button. And with that being said, see you guys next Sunday.